$191,397.75. Please say aye.
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 Motion carries. And Mr. Fletcher, the last one is yours. Also, architectural and engineering fees for Castile High School tennis courts and concessions building.
Madam President, members of the board, due to land restrictions when Castile High School was built, we were only able to build 4 competition tennis courts, which typically we would have built 8. With the growth at Castile High School and having 6 grade levels, the district believes it's necessary to build 8 additional tennis courts, concessions, restrooms, and storage on the vacant property located immediately north of the current sand volleyball complex. The estimated construction cost of this project is between $3.7 to $4 million. The architect of record for Castile High School is HDA Architects. We have received a design fee proposal in the amount of $170,625, which represents 4.6% of the estimated construction budget and is very reasonable in the current market. Recommend approval of HDA Architects to provide design for the tennis court and concession project at Castile High School in the amount of $170,625.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I move item 7.03, the architectural and engineering fees for Castile High School tennis courts and concession building, totaling the amount of
I'll
107.
second. Sorry, were you in the middle of that?
That's okay, no problem. $170,625.
Thank you. And Lindsay, you seconded. Thank you. Sometimes our microphones just don't pick up really well. So, all right. Are there any questions?
Yes, Mr. Fletcher. The SFB requires a certain amount of tennis courts, doesn't it? Is part of the construction like basketball courts and so forth?
No, because it's considered athletics, but they do require PE basketball, physical education.
Not tennis courts?
No.
I guess I'm a little confused as to why this happened. If there was vacant land available, why didn't we get it?
We didn't
at the
have the
time?
vacant land at the time we built that complex.
So what vacant land did you end up buying then?
We bought the 9.8 acres on the east side of Ivy Road, which is about maybe an eighth of a mile from.
Is that what you put the parking on too?
I'm sorry?
Is that part of the land for parking?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other questions, Mr. Olive or Ms. Love?
No questions from me.
Madam President, I just would
Yes,
like
Mr.
Fletcher to
Narducci.
explain a little bit about the sand volleyball courts. Those are not just Castile, but those are utilized by other high schools.
That's a district
teams
complex,
as well.
correct.
So they'll have use of this facility too, because it's going to be between the tennis courts and the sand volleyball courts.
That is correct.
So they'll be able to use the concession area, the restrooms that are a part of this. So it actually extends outside of just Castile's use.
Correct.
But our other high schools, if they're utilizing those volleyball courts, would be able to utilize it as well, correct?
Correct.
Are there any additional questions, comments? Mrs. Bruner, did you have
Can I
anything?
ask my question again? Bond 2019?
Correct. And Mr. Worth, just to clarify, if you go back, we purchased 32 acres originally. Then we purchased 19 and a half acres at Castile. Then we purchased 12 and a half. And then we purchased 9.8. So when we did the original master plan, we didn't have all of the acreage that we have today.
Was that because of a lack of funds or
Lack of land availability at the time.
a lack of people willing to sell it? There must have been land there.
Correct.
Okay.
And Castile already has some tennis courts. Could you explain what's going to be done with those and how it's going to be worked out?
So originally, when we built the 4 tennis courts, we built them with basketball standards on it. We took the basketball standards off because they felt it was interfering with the competition tennis. So we will now go back and put the basketball standards back on those 4 tennis courts, and they will become PE basketball courts.
Mr. Narducci, did you wanted to add something?
Yeah, also, I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, Mr. Fletcher knows his stuff. But the other thing is that we got to remember, we have a junior high campus there and a high school. Both are playing tennis too, so it'll be their option whether they want to use those four courts also for different types of practicing for their junior high team as well, as having the additional courts. But they cannot get through a game right now in the high school division before the sunlight goes away. So it's very difficult to do it on four courts, and those were multi-use courts, so they'll go back to being multi-use for PE and to help them with the junior high and the high school being on the same campus.
And Mr. Narducci is correct. So a typical varsity tennis competition has 5 single matches and 3 doubles. So try to get those through on 4 courts is a challenge.
Now, will these have nighttime lighting?
Will not.
Will not, okay. So we don't have to worry about those light trespass on people's property out there?
Correct.
Great. All right. Are there any other questions? All those, so we'll go ahead and, oh, yes, Mr. Olive?
Oh, no, I was saying no.
Oh, okay. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving HGA Architects to provide the design for the tennis court and concession project at Castile High School in the amount of $170,625, please say aye.
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 Mr. Olive, we didn't hear you.
Oh, I was waiting for abstain.
Abstain? Okay. Thank you. The motion carries 401, well, one abstention. Now